Dave Ramsey and house hacking. Those are two words that I never thought I would put in the same sentence, but yet here we are, and this video has been sent to me numerous times from a couple different people, so we're going to get Dave Ramsey and I guess his team's input on whether this person should house hack or not. I'm really excited to see this. As you know, maybe at all, I'm not a big Dave Ramsey fan. Many real estate investors are not, because the way he talks about real estate investing is honestly laughable. Dave Ramsey's belief about money is kind of like saying, like an alcoholic says everybody shouldn't drink just because alcohol wasn't good for them. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that alcohol is good for anybody, but the idea is just because he misused debt doesn't mean that everybody's gonna misuse debt.
You're in debt, you're broke.
House hacking ultimately is what got me to get out of my 9-to-5 job, got me out of debt, got me into the best financial situation of my life. So I'd really love to see what he's going to say, because truthfully, I don't think there's much better of a financial decision you can make other than house hacking, especially in this market. So we're going to jump in. It's going to be an honest review. I haven't really watched the video yet, so I'm going to go through, I'm going to make my comments, and hopefully we get something out of it. So let's get this thing going.
Robert awaits us in my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. Robert, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are doing great. How can we help?
Thanks for taking my call. So I'm 23 years old, and I just paid off my student loans in 1 year, which is $27,000.
Way to go.
Thank you. So I have an IT job right now. I'm making $70,000 a year, and with that, I get a 401k and a 4% company match, so I put 10% in right now, and I think that's looking pretty good. So I live at home with my parents rent-free right now, and I pay all my expenses, and I have no debt other than at all, actually. So I'm thinking of doing house hacking to move out eventually in a couple of years. And
I love the dude on the left. I don't know who these people are. I don't know their names. Dude on the left, like, he's like, house hacking. I don't even know what that is. What is this new thing?
I'm wondering how I should get started with that, and what do you guys think I need to save for that?
How much do you have in savings right now?
I have about 10 grand left over after paying all my student loans and stuff.
So FYI, 10 grand is what I had. That's what I got started with house hacking with. I used my $10,000 to finance my 3.5% down payment that I used with an FHA 203K loan. It's all I needed to buy a house that was a $270,000 purchase price. Plus, they gave me all the $80,000 I needed to renovate, which eventually built me equity. So 10 grand. Now, I guess this is a couple years later. You probably want more than that, but just to let you know, 10 grand is usually enough.
Okay, so let's call that your emergency fund.
Oh, God. Here we go. Already. Okay, you can't touch that 10 grand. All right. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're investing 10%. What does the company match?
4%.
Well, if you're following the baby steps, are you a new listener to the plan?
I don't know what the baby steps are. If you know what the baby steps are, comment below. I'm curious if you're a Dave Ramsey fan.
Relatively.
Okay. So you would be what we call baby step 4, which is invest 15% of your income into retirement. So if I'm in your...
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Listen, I'm not going to go too deep on this. I have my own thoughts about 401ks. Obviously, Dave Ramsey's a great fan of them. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with all the partnerships that he has with all the mutual funds and all the boatloads of money that he gets from recommending people into his different funds of really long-term, super boring, super ridiculous, super high fee savings plans. But I'm going to assume that that's not the reason why they're making this recommendation. Look up the book 401 Chaos. I just started reading it. It's extremely interesting, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Your shoes, I'm bumping that up. At 23 years old with no debt and some money in the bank, you're in such an incredible financial position.
I agree.
And you're wondering, well, where does home ownership fall into this?
Yep.
Well, that would be baby step 3B is what we call that, saving up for that down payment on a house. And you can do this your own way when it comes to 3B and 4. Some people like to invest all 15% and keep saving for the down payment. Some people bring their investing down to nothing to save for that down payment more aggressively. So in your shoes, you're young. You could do that in order to create some more margin, but I wouldn't touch that $10,000. Let's call that savings for emergencies.
Okay, that's fair. My belief is if this guy is in such a great financial situation, if we're really talking emergencies, he has access to credit cards, okay? Now, of course, we don't want to be put in a situation where we're maxing out credit cards, but hopefully that's a position that we don't have to pass very often. At the end of the day, that $10,000 could be doing a lot more for him than sitting in the bank right now, collecting no interest, making no money on it, and actually losing money to inflation right now. But I don't technically disagree with it. I just want to see where he goes with this.
So now the next goal is, how much is the house that you are looking to buy, this duplex?
I haven't found anyone in particular, but I'm thinking around $200,000 to $400,000. That'd be my range.
Have you actually found duplexes for sale in the Boston area in that range?
Like ones that need renovations and they're fixer-uppers.
It doesn't sound like you're going to have money for renovations.
Ah! Why does nobody know about the 203K loan?
Because your plan is, I'm going to live on one side and the renter is going to live in the other, and they're going to magically pay my mortgage. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
What are the values of duplexes in these areas? I mean, do they hold their value?
What the hell is that?
Typically, because in the Boston
I have no idea why my camera does that. I don't know why there's fireworks.
area, it's very hard to get housing.
Okay.
I imagine there's people, duplexes are in high demand because of this idea that you're talking about. So I don't know that you're going to find a deal on a duplex unless it needs a lot of renovations. And man, at 23 with no money, that is a dangerous scenario.
Unless you use an FHA 203K loan, which they give you all the money to completely renovate the house, still at 3.5% down. Crazy that it exists out there, and these people that are supposed to be experts in money and finance and everything in between don't even know it exists. What a surprise.
Because what happens when the tenant doesn't pay on time? Oh, and by the way, they live next door. And so anytime something happens, they're knocking on your door.
Oh, dude, this is classic Dave Ramsey doom and gloom. Holy crap. So when I first started into this, all of my friends and family members and uncles were like, oh, you don't want to be a landlord. You don't want to fix toilets. What's going to happen when you have to repair the boiler? I don't know, man. But here's the crazy thing. Every person that told me not to be a landlord had one thing in common. Can you guess what it is? None of them owned any real estate.
Because they know the landlord lives next door.
Oh, that's awful.
And so I would just try.
Oh, so now they're just shitting on house hacking completely. God forbid you provide housing for other people and you live next door to these heathens that are going to bombard you because you live next door.
With caution. I know this is big advice on TikTok on the financial side of, hey, just house hack. It's so easy. You can make so much money. But man, it is so much more complicated than that, and it can be very risky.
Is that what house hacking is? I wasn't going to ask, but now I don't care.
That's the idea.
I don't know what
Robert,
it means.
did I sum it up well as to what house hacking is?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what
You get
it
a
is.
duplex, 4 family, and you live in one unit, and you rent out the other ones, which then ideally pays for your mortgage and then some.
Do you want to live with your renters? That's a
Oh, God forbid. Holy cow. God forbid you live with your renters.
really, boy, you ought to do that on the talk, George, because I
Oof.
think that would get some views for
They
you.
don't. Nobody wants my opinion there because they're all wanting to make money, Ken. They don't want to hear.
But
the
they're not
ninny-muggins.
thinking about living next door to their renters. And when something goes wrong, guess what?
Absolutely.
And what happens if you don't get back to them fast enough and they got anger issues?
Well, when the
The doom and gloom. Oh, my God, man. Oh, my God. It's insane. I can't imagine anybody get far listening to these people. I can't. The doom and gloom, like, listen, maybe I'm the messed up one. I am a big believer in not figuring out the how, but the what. Like, why is this not a good idea? Why is not doing this? Listen, when my family came over to the United States, my grandparents, great-grandparents, they came over to the United States, they house hacked. They lived in with other family members and other people that they didn't know from their community, whatever. That was the only way that they were going to afford housing. They worked their way up to home ownership, but the way they did it was housing. Someone's got to provide the housing out there. If you have the opportunity to do it and make good on it financially and provide housing for people, that's a great thing. And if you occupy the property, believe it or not, you can choose who your tenants are going to be. And yes, you can vet them. And if they have anger issues or they're criminals, well, you don't have to let them in if they have a crime record.
HVAC goes
I
out,
could go on and on.
It's on you to fix and
Oh,
you
God
to pay for
forbid.
it. And so that's what worries me, Robert, is it sounds like you're looking to put as little down to get into this thing as possible on a 30-year in order to get the renter to pay the other side.
Yeah.
And so our housing advice is a 15-year fixed rate mortgage because we want
15-year fixed rate mortgage. Has anybody looked at the terms on that? Can you I'm legit laughing. I cannot deal with this. Go buy a house in Boston and get a 15-year fixed rate mortgage on it and tell me what your mortgage payment is. Dave Ramsey and friends, it is no longer 1939 or whatever. I don't know how old Dave Ramsey is. It is no longer 1975. The mortgage payment, the amount, the ratio of mortgage payment to your income, nobody is going to qualify for that. Your average working class couple that is a teacher and an accountant together combining incomes in high cost of live areas barely qualify for 30-year mortgages. And listen, rates are low. Why not use the bank's money to finance it over 30 years? Holy crap.
Dude. You in debt for as little time as possible.
Oh, God.
And where the payment is no more than a quarter of your take-home pay.
Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's so good. I know this is classic Ramsey bullshit, but so not only do they want you to find a 15, please, if anybody, please let me know in the comments, if anybody could find a house out there where they're able to get a 15-year mortgage, which means your mortgage payment is going to be significantly, probably 25, 30, 40% higher than what it would be if on a 30-year, but then also make sure that that's only 25% of your income. Holy crap. You'd have to be, I'm assuming, both brain surgeons, probably.
And so if you can do that and without having a tenant involved, then I would say you're financially ready to get that duplex or buy a house. And that might mean you need to.
Oh, so he said without the tenant involved. So basically what he's saying is you got to be able to cover the whole duplex and not forecast any of the future rental income of the tenant, because tenants are horrible and apparently they're going to Molotov cocktail their house because they know that you live next door, which apparently is, the worst thing in the world for that bozo on the left.
Save up, 40% as a down payment instead of 5% in order to make those numbers work. But it's not to be, super fundamental and go, you're doing it wrong if you don't do it this way. It's because of risk.
Yeah.
That's literally exactly what you're doing. You're being extremely fundamental, making up rules that are literally not attainable in 2024 by anybody in the working class. And you're sitting here telling me that you're not being fundamental, but you're taking on too much risk. Too much risk of what? Your $10,000?
Paper is upside if you can just crunch the numbers. But reality is a whole lot different.
Yeah. So, Robert.
Well, reality is a lot different in the sense that it made me in my best financial position that I ever could have imagined by now owning a property that's completely being paid for by tenants, giving me $2,000 a month income. And that was my first house hack property. And now going on getting into the flipping business, building 6 figures of equity, and now having $2 million in real estate in a couple of years, quitting my 9-to-5 job, all using these horrible, super risky, high-risk loans, having these degenerate tenants in there because house hacking is terrible. Also, renovating the house using none of my own money, which he obviously doesn't know exists.
Or let me flip this. If you knew that you could buy a home that only you lived in, and you could pay it off quickly and then reap the benefits of that very sound investment much later in life, would you choose that or the housing hack idea?
Well, I was always thinking that I could use the housing hack idea as an investment in the future, where when I'm 30, I can move out of that and have those two being rented and then buy a house after that. But I do like the idea of maybe being able to pay off my own house a lot quicker.
Yeah, then buy another house. But the point is you skip the whole idea where you're a landlord.
God forbid. Again, what's bad about being a landlord? 90% of millionaires build their fortune with real estate. Being landlords.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a landlord.
Oh, God. Here we go.
You just want to make money.
People actually listen to this guy and
wisely. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So maybe we start looking at, hey, let's get a condo for Robert that he can live in. Maybe you want
A
to
condo is a great investment. Yes, HOAs and additional fees, having maintenance fees, more money you could just throw away. Let's do a condo, not a single family rental, which is worth way more and appreciates way faster. Single family residence. Sorry.
get a roommate. Maybe you get a 2-bedroom condo and you can get a roommate. But
A roommate, which might also have anger problems, mind you, like the guy said, and he'll chase you with a chainsaw because your roommate hates you. Not sure how that's any different than a tenant, but proceed.
I wouldn't go investing in real estate until you've got a paid-for house yourself and you're at a different place financially. And there's no rush. Man, you're 23. Who cares if you get into this at 33 or 43? Everyone feels like I'm too late, Ken, if I don't get into it. There's an 18-year-old on TikTok who got started and now he's making millions. Man, I think we get...
I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're saying there besides the fact that it's available to you, so why wouldn't you take advantage of it? You're young. Take advantage of the fact that you're young so you can be in real estate longer and get the benefits for a longer term and then not wait until you're 33 just to get started. You have an ability to set yourself up for life right now. Why would you not take advantage of it? 2 in the hand is worth 1 in the bush, right? The idea is that, like, you have the opportunity to get it now. You got to live in the moment. The time is now, right? My mentor says it all the time. The time is now. Like, you have to focus on right now. Tomorrow's not promised. Now, I'm not saying YOLO, I'm not saying, like, go do egregious, stupid shit. But at the end of the day, like, this kid has a great idea. And Robert, if you're watching and you happen to watch this video, please hit me up and I will personally mentor you through the house hacking process myself. Because they did you a huge disservice on this freaking call. God damn.
Got to get off social media for a while.
I got a phrase for you. Stop with the housing hacks. Stay with the...
Oh, stop with the housing hack. Dude, I don't know who this guy is, but oh my God.
Housing facts.
Wow.
Huh?
Robert, are you going to tweet that?
Nothing says
Wow.
middle-aged man
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Start with the
They don't like that on
wow,
the top.
housing
No one
facts
likes that.
versus
Yeah, but
housing
it's a
hack.
fact.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact that house hacking, I've helped hundreds of people do it successfully, build 6 figures of income, 6 figures of wealth through each of these deals, live for free or close to it, completely subsidize their mortgage payments. Dave Ramsey would be very happy about that because with all that money they're saving, he could put it into those partnered mutual funds that he's making so much money off of. So they'd be behoove to do this.
Fact.
It's true. Well,
It is, yeah.
Robert, I hope that helps. I know I didn't want to stomp on your parade there.
Well, you stomped on his parade. You really stomped on Robert's parade. And again, Robert, I am sorry that they did you this disservice. Your thinking is right. These guys don't know house hacking if it smacked them in the face. They don't even know the benefits because they don't know what they don't know. And what happens is, in this game, especially with house hacking, renovation loans, people don't even know it exists. So now he's telling you to do things not knowing all of your options. You have options. You have the ability to buy a fixer-upper property in Boston. Now, I would recommend that you get a little more than $10,000. I don't think that's enough, but you're putting all that money into your 401k and Dave Ramsey, cover your ears. You could take a loan out on that off of your 401k, and I promise you, buying real estate with that money will make you way more money than that 401k ever will. And I would bet my life on that. Holy cow. If you watch this and you watch Dave Ramsey, God bless.